Welcome to High Tea with Chantelle, elevated conversations with studio owners. Hello brilliant ones, it's Chantelle here, and I'm so excited to share with you today's episode where I sit down with a brilliant studio owner and find out their story and share a whole lot of wisdom that we can bring into your business. And today's guest is no exception. Today's guest is named Kylie Clift. And in today's episode, you're going to learn about how to incorporate more creativity in your role as a studio owner and making this business work for you in how you lead your team and how you drive your results forward. You'll learn the exact steps that she took, which doubled her studio and also filled out her baby classes to capacity, which is unbelievable. So sit back, pour yourself a cup of tea, and let's get started. Hello everyone, it is Chantelle here, and I'm really excited to introduce you to my next amazing guest. We have Kylie Clift, who is actually a very special person in our life because my daughter Madeline, who's 19 months, she does kinder music at Kylie's amazing studio, Gym Jam. We go there every week and we absolutely love it, and it's been beautiful having her as a client as well, and having these, it's been interesting for me actually because I get to kind of see a parent perspective, and like I know the pressure must be on for you. I'm sure everyone's like thinking like, but it's really beautiful because we get to kind of like chat about what it's like, you know, as a parent, and then I can say like, well, this kind of was interesting to me, and like, why is it this way? And it's really quite fun. So I'm loving being in your studio.
Oh,
so
that's
thank
good.
you.
Well, initially it was quite nerve-wracking. I think the first couple of times you came, I was like, is the studio clean and tight? Have I got my fish? You know, I was a little bit not intimidated, but it was like, okay, I've got to impress. And I don't feel like that anymore because I know, but I also really appreciate the insight of you as, you know, seeing our studio as a parent. I think it's probably really helpful for you doing what you do to now to be coming to a studio. And I'm sure you notice little things that, oh, they should be doing it this way.
You guys do such a magnificent job. You truly, it is immaculate. And there's been little things I made like this would be fun to do.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, like there is also such a lovely part of me that gets to go into that room and be fully as a parent.
Yeah.
And like that time with Madeline is really a joy.
Yeah.
So I try not to be in work mode.
Yeah.
So how long have you been running Gym Jam for now?
So about 12 years. So I started working initially when I trained up as a kinder music educator. I started working for another business because I had the intention of starting my own studio, but I wanted to spend the first 2 years really learning from someone else before I took that leap.
Interesting.
But to be honest, when I started my business, I didn't know this would be where I am now.
How so?
Well, to be totally honest and authentic, when I first trained up as a kinder music educator, I thought this is something great for me to do part-time while my children are small before I go back to my corporate job.
It was a mummy stage job.
Yeah, it was. I thought this is probably a 5-year window of my life, and then I'll go back to the real world.
What had you done before?
I'd always been involved in music, and music was I was doing professional singing, and I kind of initially thought, well, this is going to be something really nice, a bit of
money, a bit of pocket, like kind of, but not like it wasn't like a big thing.
No,
so
it wasn't what it.
Yeah,
so it wasn't what it is now. So so I went and worked for this other studio, and then went, oh, this is amazing. I love this, and I just loved. You know, the reason why I'm in it today is so different to the reason I got into it. You know, the reason I do this and the reason I have my studio today is really different to my motivation when I started. So,
how so?
Well, I remember going to a conference, a kinder music conference, and the CEO said, "This is my life's best work." And it hit me. It was like one of those Oprah moments, you know?
Everything goes into like fuzziness.
Exactly. Yeah, and it hit me, and I went, yeah, that's why I'm doing this too. Yes. Wow. That is why I'm doing this. Wow. Because every day magic happens. I can find something in every day with what we do to go, that is magic, you know. So
Wow.
I couldn't do that in my old career. You know, I had good days and bad days, but you know, I was selling holidays.
Yeah.
So
you weren't
you
even able
know,
to go on.
yeah, that's right. Which is a nice thing to do.
But you couldn't see the product. You couldn't
No,
see the...
you know, and so for me, it was life changing. I got a real career change at, you know, I was 32,
Yeah.
and yeah, I loved that, and I loved that every day was a little bit different, and so.
And goodness knows that's the truth, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, if you want variety, become a studio owner. I think
Absolutely.
is the cry.
Yeah. So for me, and also when I started, you know, I started in a community hall, one class with 3 children, and then from there it grew, and it only took probably, you know, it's probably the first 5 years, 4 or 5 years, it was just me. Mm-hmm. But I grew the studio to be big enough for me to have I had full classes. Every class was full.
Wow.
It was a really, you know, it was a really nice little thing we had happening. So
then when did you flip into like, okay, this has been, I'm comfortable, but this is, and then you kind of flipped to like, now I'm going to make this a business.
Well, you know what, for me, I get bored very easily. I love change, and I'm always looking for the next step. So treading water for me is
The worst.
I just can't, no. And you know, honestly, if my studio looked the same way as it did all those years ago, I wouldn't be doing it. I would have closed the door. So for me, it was always about, okay, well, where can I take it next?
Yeah.
So then, okay, well, I might hire a teacher. Okay, well, I'll hire a teacher, and then I could add classes in another location. You know, so for me, and also the other thing that I discovered early on is that I need to work with other people. So even though a studio, you've got lots of people around you all the time, it can still be a really lonely existence. And I could talk to my husband, but he doesn't really know exactly, you know, I could run things by him. It's like, yeah, that sounds good. So I needed a team, and I work really well with a team. And I mean, one of the things that I did really early on my journey is I joined the board, the Kinder Music board, because I felt that was a version of having a team.
Yes.
And being connected to other educators that I could talk to and bounce things off, and that was really important to me. I'm not a one-woman show. It doesn't really work for me.
You feed off the energy of others.
Totally.
Like the collaboration is what drives you.
Totally.
So even creating more opportunities for those around you is what?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Powerful.
It was really important. And I've made some lifelong friends from doing that, you know. I've met the most authentic, beautiful people through doing this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, there are times when I go, oh, what am I doing? And my husband reminds me that you're doing something amazing. He says, you know, look at what you're doing.
This is your life's best work.
This is your life's best work.
This is your masterpiece.
Sometimes I need that reminder, but overall, I can't imagine doing anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. It's interesting. Like there are always moments, I think, in business. Like I remember last year, I had one of those moments where I was in bed and I was crying to Trav, and I was so exhausted, and just like it was really hard. Like, you know, like there's moments when life is really hard, and I looked at him and I said, like, you know, we've got a young baby, and I said, like, is this worth it? And like, to his credit, like without missing a beat, he went, yes, you're meant to do this. And it was like this, like a half of me was like, just say no, Chantelle. You can just go and like, just go like the easy path, and like, but then you come back to like sometimes, you know, the reality is like we're doing what we do because it is so important, and it's not meant to be easy necessarily. You know, like business is never going to. I don't think this business is always going to be just. Business is not a straight line. There are going to be moments that break through and then go into another level that requires resistance, and so it's that balancing of the relationship with the business and the relationship with ourselves, right?
And who wants easy all the time? I mean, easy is actually boring. Like if you went to an exercise class and, you know, if you wanted to go to an exercise class. But if you did the same thing every week and when you went, oh, this is hard, the trainer said, oh, well, don't do it then. Just do what, you know, how are you going to get better and how are you going to improve and how are you going to grow?
And haven't, like, for me in particular, like, I look at all the really, really hard moments that I've had in business in multiple times, and, like, it's been, like, after that really difficult thing, because, like, it just crystallizes your thinking. It's like, and that's what's like, well, I'm not having that happen again, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And, like, that's when, for me, like, the really big quantum leaps have happened.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's interesting, huh? It's like,
Yeah.
it's like when you know that's like when you're in the deep, dark times, often it's the consolidation of your resolve and your and it makes your thinking just become laser focused into, well, here's the next part.
Yeah. Well, the turning point for me in my business was hiring an admin. So I was ready to walk. So probably I would say year 4 or 5, I was feeling overwhelmed by the admin. It's not what I like to do. It's not my strength. So I was, you know, not returning people's calls and I was getting back to emails late. I was losing so much business through my own...
This is overwhelm.
Oh, yeah, overwhelm. And also, it's not my strength.
Yeah.
And I made the decision, I thought, well, I can either forget about all of this or I can hire someone. And for so long I can't afford to hire someone. And then I made the decision, I worked out, did some figures, and I said, well, if I taught 2 more classes a week, I can afford an admin.
I love it.
So I
simple,
went,
right?
I know, so I went, I'd rather teach 2 more classes a week. Because
that's a happy 2
That's
hours.
a happy 2 hours. And so then I approached a parent at the studio who I thought would be good at the job.
Yeah.
And said, how would you like to do this? You can do it from home. I'll give you a phone. This is what I'd like you to do. It was really answer phone calls,
answer emails,
collect money, answer emails. That's the stuff I don't really want to do. My business doubled in 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. My numbers doubled in 6 months from just doing that. It was mind-blowing.
And it's so the pattern.
And that was even before I discovered SEP and Studio Evolution. Like that was my own doing before I found you. So
well, that's the power of giving yourself the space to lead.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the space. So I'm curious. So
Yes.
given like that was like a big shift, what do you feel is the next big shift you want to have happen in your business?
Ooh.
Or for yourself even?
Well, probably for myself, I would love to do more study. And up until now, I haven't. I mean, doing evolution is a level of that is study.
It's like a mini university.
It's like an MBA, like really.
It really is.
But I would like to have the space the brain space and the head space and the time to be able to go and get more qualifications. And up until now, I haven't been able to see that. Yeah. But I can actually see that in the next year or 2 that I'll be able to. I'm setting things up in place with my business and I've got a team that can, on a day-to-day basis, be running things so that I can go and do that and up my skills and get some more qualifications in other areas to then bring back into the business. So that's the thing on a personal level that I am excited about.
And what do you what have you done to give yourself, like you kind of seeing it come together, like what's been really important you've done in the last kind of 12 months, like since you joined Evolution or kind of even beyond that, that's helped giving you this life that you want?
I think the biggest area of growth for me has been being a leader. So as I said before, I love working in a team, but I'd never actually really been a boss before. I'd worked with other people, but I'd never managed a team of people in the jobs that I'd had. So working with a team and being a leader, and it was a big, I don't think I was bad at it, but having done Evolution and what I've been learning from it is that I've really become a much better leader. And to the point where my staff often say to me, look at you go, like, look at you.
Wow.
And wow, okay. You know, I took them away on a retreat to the Blue Mountains last year, and I'd organised all my presentations and for us to do training, and they were just so, they were so enthusiastic and wanted to take ownership of certain things, which I often, because I guess I ran my business on my own for so long, delegating has been a big challenge, because I think I might as well just do it myself, and I had them saying, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'm good at that. I'll do that. I know. It was amazing. Yeah. And that was, and also them saying to me, we feel really valued by you, and I love working with you. You know, that's really great.
People love to be there. I think this is like, people love to see the vision. They love the clarity. They love feeling like they're understanding the bigger picture. They want to be in on the more of the why. And once they get that, then it's like that level of what do you call it? They're ingrained in it. That's when you just see that little click off in their eye. It's like,
yeah.
But when you've been doing it yourself, it's very easy just to, you see it. You know, and how to communicate it with enough consistency, enough clarity for them to hear it is huge.
And also, I guess, and with that came systems, because when I started my business and it was just me, and it was really not a very big business, my systems were in my head. They were here. Yeah. And some things didn't have any systems, you know. So implementing systems and having, and which we need to do now, I've got... you know, five of us working together but independently, when none of us are working in the same space. Yeah. So managing, like, you do a team who are doing their thing all over the place, as well as different facets about my business. So I've got my studio, I've got school that I work with, I've got choir, I've got daycare centres that we work with. So I've got, you know, some stuff doing this, some stuff on that, then me doing this. Yeah. So
there's complexity there.
Yeah, there is some complexity there. So implementing systems has again been the other thing that has just helped get some clarity, but also help them see, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting, the relationship between, you know, everyone wants a bigger studio, right? They kind of they're growth hungry. They have the desire, the ambition to run this bigger business. And what's interesting is, like, when you start to really break it down of what that looks like, the real essential foundational piece is the leadership that is going to be keeping the morale, the communication, the systems happening. And what we see in evolution, and, you know, particularly like watching the confidence within you in the last 12 months has been remarkable. And we're seeing that. I mean, like, your baby classes have got wait lists. Like, it's just been unbelievable, the growth that we've seen. But it's the leadership presence that then brings the absolute up-leveling of the business. And everyone wants this big business, and what's going to take to get there? It's us, right?
Totally.
It's us. And, like, when we think of ourselves like running a studio with X amount of students and things like that, what is that? That is us stepping into that place of not only belief that we can do it, but we have the skills. Yeah. Leadership is a learnable skill, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's learning how to have the systems, learning how to do the communications, how to bring the right team together. And that's where I get really fascinated by the stories of people, like what actually took you from here to there, and hearing, like, how you really shifted in yourself, because that's the magic.
Yeah, I think it is the magic, and often you don't see it yourself. Like, I'm going along doing this, and it's been really fabulous hearing feedback from my team going, wow, okay, wow, this is great. That's great. And also me actioning, doing something that I said I was going to do and doing it. You know, like sometimes I'll go, because I am an ideas person, and I'll often go, oh, this is a great idea. And, but then also getting that to happen, but also being able to say to them, I need your help to make this
Yes.
happen.
And not having to do it on your own.
Not having to do it, not being burdened by that. This is all me. I have to do it myself.
And you're such a creative. I mean, like, you're a performer. You are a true definition. I mean, look at what you're wearing. Like, you're just this most vibrant, gorgeous person. And it's like how to incorporate the creativity that is inherently you into where we kind of think like business is so structured and so linear and so da-da-da-da-da. It's like, how do we bring, like, because it has to be you and expanding you into the system side, not kind of like putting these systems into my business.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big shift for me as well. Recognizing, and this happened about 12 months ago, that I often had seen my strengths as my weaknesses, and they're not. They're my superpowers. You know, when I did the Clifton Strengths Finder, which I just tell everyone about this, because for me, that was just mind blowing. Because
what are your strengths? What are your 5
so
strengths?
my number one is ideation. So I'm an ideas, I'm an ideas person.
Of course,
of course.
right?
My number 2 is positivity.
Oh.
My number 3 is empathy. My number 4 is input, so learning, collecting information, collaboration.
Yep.
And my number 5 is communication.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, like, you're a born leader.
Yeah.
born
Well,
leader.
and I guess you could look at it like that.
Okay, let me show you how. Because like when we think about it, like you see you've got the idea of the vision, you see it so clearly. You've got the empathy to be able to kind of bring people with you and the positivity to reinforce. You've got the, what was number 5 again?
Input.
Yeah, so you're kind of like, we're going here together.
Yeah.
This is where like you have all those characteristics. All you need is like, you just need your right hand woman being an integrator.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly right.
implementer.
Yeah.
Like once you've got that, you can run. That's the power.
Yeah, it was, it made me cry actually when I did that, because, and actually I did it with my team when we went for our weekend away, because I thought we all need to know each other's strengths.
Yeah.
So I got them to do it. And there were tears. There were big, big tears with a lot of my staff, which was amazing, because I felt, and when I looked at all my, the ones down the bottom, which often the ones I wanted, the ones that were at the bottom of my list were the ones that I thought I should have.
Like what? Like the kind of the
Like
strategy
the strategy and being the discipline is like number 32 on the list. It's like, which is so right, you know. Those are the things that I would beat myself up over.
Yeah.
And think that should be at the top, and they weren't. And when I did this, I went, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because I've got these and they're really awesome. Like, these strengths are really great. But it was great when I did it with my team, because we looked at all of ours, but also for them to see what mine were.
Yes.
They understood then how my brain works and how I work sometimes. So they got that, because often I would come up with this harebrained idea and I would sometimes get negativity from them. That's not going to work, or I would get pushed back, and I'd be like, let's make it work,
And that's like your core identity. Your core identity
Absolutely.
is to have ideas, and when they're not kind of like, and you're going to them for input, and then your side of your empathy, you're feeling also like, oh, they're not feeling me, so like I'll pull back.
Yeah.
And then you're diminishing your light.
Yeah. So it was really good for us all to see each other's and where they all linked, and I can help you with this. And I can help you.
Traits?
Yes, there were. There were. And in fact, most of my teachers, I think we all had empathy in our top 5 or 7, traits. But my admin she had empathy, but she had lots of that audit. She's very black and white, and she had that sort of discipline logical, those logic ones. Which is a good thing, because, she's doing the admin. So, I found that really, and I still use it now. I still use it every day. I think about it, and I think about it.
So I did a kind of a map of like all of the team, and then I colour coordinated each of the strengths across them. So I have each team member and then their top 5 strengths.
Yeah.
And then I can see like the red patterns between the 3. And so for team expansion, our top 3, we have achiever, empathy, and responsibility.
Wow.
They're the top 3 traits across our team.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah.
That's
It's interesting, isn't it?
We run, but we're pretty connected too.
Yeah.
Really
No, I found that. So I guess I feel like I love where everything's going.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard, but that's not a bad thing.
Well, if you were to go back in that space of mind, if you were to go back and speak to the studio owner, 5 years ago, 12 years ago, and let her know what you knew now, you now know, what would you want her to believe or to understand?
I think I think I would have said much earlier, get an admin. Much earlier.
Totally.
Because it will pay for itself, It will pay for itself, and so that's what I would have done way earlier than what I did. I would have
not struggled for so long.
I wouldn't know. No, I wouldn't have done it on my own for so long. And the same thing again as, that taught me, outsource what you either don't want to do yourself or are not your strengths. Get someone else to do them or someone to help you do them.
Yes.
And that's been reinforced so much more in the last sort of 18 months. So that's probably what I would say to my previous self.
And what are you most excited about the possibility of going forward?
Oh, I think the thing I love about this and love about running a studio is the possibilities are endless. There's no rules. I don't have any, and that excites me, that I can do what I want. And that's what I often tell myself when I have those moments occasionally going, I wish someone else was paying me super and someone else was having to make these big decisions, as I think I can steer this ship where I want it to go. That's what I can do. So that excites me. There's a little bit of fear mixed in with that as well, but more excitement to the idea of that. Yeah.
Well, that's where you have your life on your own terms. And that for me is so important, that we actually have the opportunity to kind of ask, what do I want?
Yeah.
And what does it look like? And how can I make this life and this business remarkable? And there's every type of studio out there, and there are incredibly successful studios, and it's just a strategy. It's just finding what are they doing, how, and that's what we love exploring every single day together.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's changing, and there's also a certain way that things were done years ago, and there's not as many. I don't think the rules are there anymore. Which is
so good.
Yeah, which is great.
Well, my friend, you are just such a beautiful inspiration to us all, and how you are carving your own path and making it work for you and embracing who you are. So thank you for being with us today and sharing a cup of tea with me.
Thank you.
And we will see you for more chats over tea, which this sessions now seems to be what they're about, very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Ready to join us? Apply now at studioexpansion.com/evolution apply.